What happened to William and Zachary Zulock in prison? Now, this is one of the more just horrific cases that I'll cover. In 2018, the Zulocks, a homosexual married couple, would adopt two young boys ages 6 and 7. They would adopt it from a Christian foster care agency named Bethany Christian Services. They are now going to prison for 100 years each for aggravated sodomy, child molestation, incest, and sexual exploitation of children. What they ultimately did was, after they adopted the two boys, not only did they rape them, abuse them, they also put them on the internet, sold all type of horrific videos, the worst of the worst abuse you can imagine. They also had other co-defendants like this piece of shit right here, who they recorded also abusing the children. Let's not forget this piece of shit who also did the same thing. Now, once again, this is when the system fails. So they went to a Christian adoption agency, right? And I don't care what your beliefs are, but we all know if you're truly a Christian and you live by those morals and ethics, why are they adopting to a homosexual married couple if it's against their beliefs? All right, whatever, maybe they let that go. But then wait a minute, they were able to get those kids in less than 12 weeks, which is unheard of in an adoption service. But wait a minute, Zachary Zulock had a 2011 assault allegation against a minor where he sexually assaulted a 14-year-old boy 10 years ago when he was 24. So that's how you know they don't give a fuck unless they have to give a fuck. Think about it. The Zulocks, they adopted their children through a Christian special needs adoption agency, which failed to uncover any red flags about the couple's background. Just said, oh, there might have been gaps in the vetting process, horrible checks, mistakes. Yeah, so you put these kids in the most vulnerable situation with the most demonic people imaginable. Not only did y'all miss that he's a violent sexual predator, but you sped the adoption process. Something just doesn't sound right, and it gets even more crazy. And guess what? It was never determined if the Christian Special Needs Adoption Agency ever knew about Zachary's sexual assault in 2011. You know why? Because the Zulocks went to attempt to adopt another child, a little girl, 7 years old, in 2021. Which means they had already been abusing those two young innocent boys for over 2 years when they decided to say, let's get another one. Now, they had been on the internet pimping, just completely destroying these young children's lives. Imagine they get finally a home in foster care out of that hellhole, only to be given away to the most pedophilic, evil, demonic cowards in the world. And they had a history of it. And then they go back and the agency's closed. So not only did they do it to two kids, they felt comfortable enough to go back to that same agency and get another victim. Yeah, these two motherfuckers. So they kept it going on until 2022. The whole time, the couple just had their adopted sons where they repeatedly sexually abused them for years. They recorded it. They made all types of material, sold it, and even had a network of pedophiles that they shared online and in person at their home. So they not only were abusing their sons, which is horrific, they were sharing the footage with other pedophiles locally and online. So what that means was they were doing it to them. They had other people doing it to them. They were broadcasting online, all while they were pretending to be the perfect family. They would make posts saying, we finally have a family, it's completed. They do updates. I mean, it was post after post. They would have posts where they were at charities, all while they were abusing their children, posting their wedding videos with Shania Twain in the background. They would do anniversaries. Those are the two children that they were abusing, and they would post on social media with captions that read, we have loved every moment of it. Was a little rough starting out, but we beat the 1 year mark. They did it to these precious kids that thought they finally had a home. Now, in 2022, they had a cyber tip-off where somebody saw some of the material they uploaded. They found the IP address where they would raid the house, and it gets even more twisted. You know what they found? Authorities conducted a search of the Zulock's home and seized a vast amount of digital evidence, over 7 terabytes of data containing videos of the abuse. Also, all of their assets, money, and bank accounts were closed and seized. Now, the Zulocks lived in a large home, which raised questions. How could they afford that on such a lifestyle when they only really both worked for the state with a combined income of $97,000 a year? As it's obvious that not only were they using money from exploiting their kids and selling their kids and pimping their kids out to buy the stuff, but it's deeper than that. What they uncovered here is a pedophile ring to the highest degree. These people were paid money to look like the perfect family, to post all the nice videos, while they went to the adoption agency, a Christian adoption agency for special needs that just so happened went out of business within a year or two of them getting the 2 children. And they went from a regular middle-class home to moving into a $900,000 house 3 months after the adoptions took place. Average adoption, especially when it comes to a homosexual couple that's married, you know, it is what it is. It can take longer. It could take anywhere from 8 months to 6 years, depending on the situation. They got it done in 12 weeks. Now, what this is a group of pedophiles. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, that put them with a fake organization that had kids coming in there. Because if you're a Christian group, I know everybody has their own beliefs, and I don't care what you are, as long as you don't hurt women and children, not a chomo creep motherfucker, you can have a family. You could do whatever you want. That's America. However, there has to be guidelines, there has to be rules, there has to be structures, and you do not miss a 2011 case where he sexually assaulted a 14-year-old boy. And when they went back to talk to the detectives, they were all retired. Only one remained, and he said, as he overlooked the case, yeah, something's not right here. I'll look into it. How convenient. They waited a certain amount of time for everybody to be retired, go to an agency, get the 2 kids. The agency shuts down. Immediately, they have a $900,000 house on a $97,000 a year salary. And these sick fucks, you know what they do? They go back. Probably thought, hey, let's go check that agency out, see if they have any connections. It was closed. But somehow they still talked to a girl that worked there who recommended another agency. And they were going to get another little kid, another girl. They were going to add it to their collection of these demonic, evil motherfuckers. This is an entire pedophile ring. And I've spoke on this time and time again. It's getting out of hand. Y'all are going after our kids relentlessly. You're hiding under the face of churches. You're hiding under the faces of this happy couple and these community people. Always the wolves in sheep clothing. I don't believe in coincidences. I only believe in corruption and evil. The fact that that company closed so shortly after they got those 2 boys, the fact that they didn't see the 2011 sexual assault on a 14-year-old, and they were so brazen with it. They got all this money, all these houses right after. Now they're going to prison for 100 years. Zachary has already been beaten, had the shit kicked out of him, spit on, and he was drugged. So what they did to him was they gave him some coffee or food or whatever it was. They drugged him, beat the dog shit out of him. And what prison's going to be like for them is relentless, because so many people in prison come from the foster care system and have been so fucking abused through it. And, you know, this is no disrespect to homosexuals, but when you're a homosexual in prison and you're a child molester, they're going to get tortured worse than anything those kids could have even went through in their life. And it's going to be day in and day out. I've seen this happen. And they're going to go and look for protection from somebody that's also a homosexual called a war daddy, who's going to completely, horrifically violate them, beat them, just hurt them, extort them, but they have no more money. So once they get passed around, used and abused, someone's going to cut their throat wide open. Because when somebody looks at someone that abused the foster care system and the Christianity religion, it's an instant death sentence. Stay out, stay free.